According to the Schools Act, principals are required to inform parents of regulations related to exemption from paying school fees. This process is meant to take place within the first 2 weeks of the school year. To tell us how this works, I'm joined by Tshegofatso Mothapo from Lawyers for Human Rights. Tshegofatso, thank you very much for your time. So who qualifies for exemption from paying school fees?
Thank you so much for having me. So exemptions, there are three types of exemptions. You have your automatic exemptions, which are for basically children who are usually placed either in child youth care centers, or alternatively, it also includes, children who have a guardian, abandoned children, but it's usually children who are basically in a situation that is beyond their control, and have basically no parent usually in their lives, or their parents are not in the picture at all. And then you have your partial exemptions, which are usually granted to parents depending on a means test. So if a parent cannot afford certain fees, for depending on the means of income at the time, the school, according to the Schools Act and the regulations, would then grant an exemption based on that. And lastly, you have a conditional exemption, whereby you have a child who was admitted into a school, and halfway through the year, then the parent realizes they cannot pay, the school fees. Their circumstances have changed. So as a result, they apply for such an exemption.
So how does the process work, and how do parents apply?
Well, in the Schools Act makes it clear that, this is usually information that would be available in school letters, if there are school letters, but we usually urge clients that they should approach school administrators to ask for about the application process. What usually happens is in the first 2 weeks of school, when the schools are opened, that process is also usually open, and that's when parents are usually urged to apply. And what then happens is a parent is meant to receive communication about whether the application was successful or not within 30 days. And if they're unhappy with that process, then they can appeal at the HOD at the provincial level. They can wait a further 30 days. And following that, they can then also, if they're still unhappy with that process, the HOD must give written reasons, and then the last process would be for them to take a judicial review at the High Court within the 180 days of receiving that decision.
Tshegofatso, is it true that by law the school fee committee or the school principal is compelled to assist any parent wishing to apply for school fee exemption?
Yes. So, and I think that's an important question, especially in light of the pandemic. We have, a lot of people or parents who were basically laid off, and so it's really important for schools and principals to rather encourage as opposed to refuse, learners and parents the right to apply. Yes.
Does that exemption need to be renewed annually?
Yes. It's a yearly application process at the beginning of each school year. It's a process that's open to all parents, including parents of non-citizens or children who are non-citizens and citizens alike.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that will be much relief for parents whose circumstances have changed drastically under the COVID-19 pandemic. That was Tshegofatso Mothapo from Lawyers for Human Rights.